Welcome back to Notes 3.3 for Algebra 2. This is Mr. Peterson, and we're looking at systems of inequalities. This first one, in example 4a, starts out with a horizontal line. If you'll remember from previous sections, when you have just a y, you're dealing with a horizontal line. So I'm going to pull my horizontal line in here, and it's at a height of 4. Now I've chosen a solid border, and eventually we want to be shaded below that border. So I just make a notation. I want to be below that border. And that comes from the less than or equal to. Okay, the next one is going to be a V-shaped. You can tell that because there's an absolute value. So the first thing we're going to do is find the vertex. You set 2x minus 4 equal to 0 and solve. And then you're going to put that h value that you just found. It says x, but you can relabel it h. You're going to put that in the middle of a t-chart here. And you're going to branch out to the right with 3, 4, and 5, and the other way with 1, 0, and negative 1. Okay, let's plug these values in. So I'm looking for my pointer. I don't see it, so I'll have to highlight things here. Let's first of all find the k value by plugging in a 2 for the x. So we're going to plug in numbers right where it says x. 2 times 2 is 4. Take away 4 is 0. And the absolute value of 0 is 0. This one hits right there. Okay, now let's put the 3 in and the 1 in. Let's start with 3. When you put a 3 in for x, 2 times 3 is 6, minus 4 would be 2, and the absolute value would be 2. Now we should get the same value on the other side when we put 1 in. So we're going to find this value right here. And 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 4 is negative 2, but when you take the absolute value, it turns it back to positive 2. So 3, 2, and 1, 2. You can see the V starting to form here. Putting 4 in gives 4. We'll copy that up there. When you put 5 in, you get 6. And negative 1 also gives 6. So we're ready to graph this. It's this V shape that we get, characteristic of absolute value graphs. And in this case, we are supposed to be, it's less than, so we want to be below that. We're supposed to be below both the solid line and the dashed V. So you got to cruise over here, and then you got to take a duck underneath that little V point there. And this would be the solution set down here, everything below both graphs. So if you're using a mechanical pencil or a pen, you're going to hash it at an angle like this. And that's the solution set down underneath that V and underneath that horizontal line. Okay, on the next example here, we're going to graph this one first by dividing through by negative 3. Don't forget that when you divide through by a negative, the sign has to change direction, so it's now a greater than sign. And I got these numbers here by dividing 6 by negative 3 and negative 12 by negative 3. So this one is a line that hits at 4 with a slope of 2 down and 1 over. And because it's just strictly greater than, we're going to have a dashed border here. So let me grab my border. See if that's the right one. Hey, that worked out. And it says greater than, so we want to be above that border. Okay, the next one here is an absolute value problem. And since there's a negative 1 there and a 1 in front of the x, we're just going to do the movement here. 2 to the right and 3 up. So you go 2 to the right and 3 up, your vertex is going to be right at that point. And it's an upside down V because of the negative sign. So this one just cuts the corners. And I'll make this cut the corners like this and then go down in the other direction. Okay, so we're going to make our V at this point. Here's the right arm. And here's the left arm. Oops, sorry. Okay, so we got our V, and both of these are dashed borders. We want to be, let's make the notation on that one. It says greater than, so we want to be above that V. So the highlighted region has to be above both graphs. So I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to highlight the solution set, first of all, by outlining it. Okay, it's the numbers that are above that border. Like that. So if you're doing this with a mechanical pencil or a pen, you're going to make hash marks going at a diagonal like this. And do it neatly, but that's just as good as the highlighter version that I have here. Okay, so that does it for example 4 on page 2. And we'll pick up on example 5 in the next video.